Howdy doody.
Howdy doody.
Aye.
Howdy doody, partner.
Just hit Facebook go.
Go for your gun.
Doody. Aye.
Howdy doody, partner. You did that on purpose, didn't you?
No, I'm going to get the Facebook comments up, David.
Hi, Rebecca. Hello, Mr. E. I'm seeing the stuff on Restream, you see.
Aye. I'm not seeing anything on Facebook at the moment.
John, the van driving legend, still a driving god, is on. Last Braveheart. Ali Watson. Jim Steve.
That's on Facebook.
Rebecca McDougall. Oh my goodness, they're piling on now. Ginger's Giraffes. Fiona Allen. Stuart Laird. Evan Holmes. MC. Jacqueline McCormack. Oor Willie's Bucket. It's a good one.
McDonald, Mark Riddle, John Richardson, Thomas Walker, B.J. Williams, Stephen Kelly, Nancy MacGyver, Neil MacDonald, Rosalind Irvin. The numbers are climbing nicely.
Margaret Brownson, Kathleen Patterson. If we've missed any, do apologise. It would be nice to read all of your names out that have done us the honour of coming on here, but it moves too fast at times. We can't keep up with it. So, anyway, welcome and thank you for joining us today. And what we're going to do is, as per usual, we've chosen a few things to talk about. But at any time, if you feel that there's something that you want us to talk about, by all means, put a comment in. And we'll see if we can pick it up and maybe put it at the bottom of the screen or something like that. Okay. Made it live. Margaret. What did you do? Did you run home all the way?
DJ asking Ash or Kate. DJ, David and I are not going to tell you who we're going to vote for.
That's
your ballot.
If you've joined the SNP and you have a vote to place, then please understand that's your vote to make, and you're not going to. I don't think you'll tell me who you're voting. I don't think it matters, right? And I'm not going to tell you who I'm voting. I'll wait until I've seen.
Thanks, Roddy. Thanks, Stephen. Thank you very much, Roddy. That's well generous of you. Thanks. Anyway, subject number 1. Bad week for the Tories, was it? No.
There used to be a programme on called That Was the Week That Was, and I wish it was still on TV because, my goodness me, they would have so much to go after with the Tories. I mean, my goodness me, you couldn't make it up. I mean, it was just coming thick and fast.
No,
and it was like, but the thing is, it was like the BBC repeating stuff all the time. Back was coming Boris. Back was coming Partygate. Back was coming Matt Hancock and what he did and what he didn't do to that lassie. You know what I mean? It's like, what can I say? You know?
Oh, because Monday started off, Sunak thought he was going to get a bounce, didn't he? Sunak thought, here we go. He thinks he's getting a bounce in the polls.
Yep.
We'll get to that when it comes Friday. Anyway, Monday, Tuesday there in Northern Ireland, try to tell the people of Northern Ireland, but of course the rest of us as well, idiot thought he was only being broadcast in Northern Ireland, tells the rest is that Northern Ireland is in a unique position, a very special position, and is now the envy of the world. And that the world, if they can get the protocol sorted out and the assembly up and running again, will want to invest in Northern Ireland. So Sunak thinks his win in getting so-called Brexit done turns into a backlash for Scotland, England and Wales. Absolute idiot.
And not only that, it's looking as if the DUP are not going to be playing ball with that one, right? There's been several grumblings in the background about, that doesn't fix this and it doesn't fix that, and we're not playing our ball and we're going home.
But you know what that's all about? That's because we've got green lines instead of orange ones, I mean, they've still not brought Sammy Wilson's cranium down through our spaceship, for Fred's sake. No. So we'll go. So Sunak thinks she's getting a bounce in the polls. But come Wednesday, thank you, Alistair, that's very good. Come Wednesday, the Hancock diary and the WhatsApp group that the Tories are all messaging in hits the bloody front pages, doesn't it? Unbelievable. And as you say, Hancock and his affair comes back up to play. Yeah. And then Thursday, Sir Gavin Williamson, who stood in front of his own, praised the education sector in England during the pandemic. His real thoughts are released on WhatsApp, where he says they're all lazy buggers and he hates the bloody trade unions. Excuse me, one swept an interesting in the day of being outside most of the time. Right, so, I mean, come Friday, and the announcement that Bojo is planning on putting his da in the Lords, wow. You just couldn't have round off a worse week for the Tories, could you?
No,
you know?
You could. I did that.
Well, I guess it did get worse on Friday evening when the poll comes out and shows that Sunak didn't get a bounce at all. He did nothing.
Right.
Oh, don't forget, Bojo's up in front of the committee later this time round. With, of course, the Tories now claiming that the Sue Gray report is tinted because she's joined the Labour Party.
Yeah.
And as we all know, during the time when Bojo was being when the Sue Gray inquiry was going on, we had Tory after Tory stand up and talk about our integrity and how we should all wait until this person of magic integrities. The Sue Gray report comes out. Well, when it came out, it didn't please them, did it?
Sue Gray was held up as high as you can with beyond reproach. She was wonderful, and whatever Sue Gray comes out with, we'll listen to and we will act on.
Let's knock this one in the head for David Mackenzie. Right, in the media and the SNP, there seems to be a preferred candidate, SNP one. The SNP don't want anybody. The party machinery is not behind anybody. The fact that you've got has-beens like Alex Neil and Alex Salmon making these claims, that tells you everything you need to know. The party members will elect whoever it is that wins. There's nobody fixing the vote. I've seen all this crap.
SNP. He's SNP. We're the members. We're the ones that will be voting for whoever. So don't think that there somehow is some kind of big glove coming out of the ether saying, oh, you'll all vote this one or that one. What a load of shite.
And the way the press are presenting them, actually, they're all getting a fair crack at the whip. And I've watched 3 hustings now. They're all getting a fair crack at the whip. So this idea that the SNP want, I don't know who it is you vote for, David, or what party you subscribe to, but I can assure you there's no jiggery pokery going on.
Yeah.
None. In fact, my email box is full of stuff evenly for all the candidates.
Yeah.
No for the party HQ telling me which candidate they'd prefer, just for the candidates themselves.
Yeah.
So, this idea. Listen, Hubert, you're right, independence is about more than the SNP, but if you want to vote in the leadership race, join the SNP.
That's right.
We'll get on to the candidates in a minute.
No, this is typical, right? This is people that haven't joined the SNP suddenly thinking it's the Ku Klux Klan or something like that, where it's it's the blooming funny handshake brigade. It's not. It's a Democratic Party. I'm a member. He's a member, and there's loads of us members, and we'll get a
26,000 according to the Electoral Commission at the last coup.
There you go.
Now, the Alpha Party have claimed that they've lost 20 or 30,000 members since the last coup. We'll find out in April when we get the new coup. But as far as I know, we're putting on members at a rapid rate of knots here because people want to say who's going to be the next leader.
Yeah.
Stephen, don't worry about deciding about candidates. We'll get you candidates in a minute. We're talking about how bad a week Sunak and the Tories have had. So, and of course, we tail end of the week last week with the press making as much noise as they could to try and drown out what it was that Sunak told us on Tuesday. So we had more his releases for the Sue Gray report, and pretty much damning. And then, of course, as we know, the weekend, the hard Brexiteers who won't wrap their head around the fact that Brexit is a failure have spent the whole weekend attacking Sue Gray in her report, saying that the fact that she's the Daily Mail even went so far as to say it was a Labour plot to get rid of Bojo. I'm sure Starmer wasn't whispering in Bojo's ear, have a party, have a party, have a party. Wow. I mean, the Daily Mail, they wonder it's the losing journalists and having to make people redundant. What an absolute piece of crap that. Toilet paper, it's no newspaper.
Is it the Daily Mail that are going to be handing out redundancies?
That's it, aye. The Daily Mail.
And one of the funniest things I read was one that you put up was about, hey, Daily Mail, no worries about redundancies. I've heard that people on benefits get 50 grand a year, a big screen TV and a free house, right? So don't worry about it. Honestly, you couldn't make up one.
If you're unemployed, it's a fiver. If you're no well off, it's 12 quid a year, roughly a pound a month.
Yeah. For goodness sake, guys, look, you know, we've tried to say to you all the way through. Look, you know, the SNP are the party of independence. No matter what you say, what other parties you go on about, the SNP are the party of independence. And what will happen is if you join up, basically it's like putting your name on a thing like the Salvo thing, or the signatures, right? But it's better than that because it's verified because you're a party member. And if we can get above a certain level, it becomes if you like, a way whereby the people of Scotland can say, we want independence. There you go. All right. The one guy I want to talk further on is a chap called Tom Harwood that many of you will have seen on Question Time last week. Now, he's a wee right-wing git. I don't know how to say it any better. And it so happens that he's the chap that does, he's the editor, political editor for GB News, the right-wing, well, they're all right-wing, what can I say, but the very right-wing news channel on TV. And basically, I listened to the guy. He was a motormouth. He was literally a motormouth. He wouldn't shut up. And the most important thing is that Bruce, Fiona Bruce, wouldn't shut him up either. She just let him rabbit.
Hold on, we'll give the first vote of the day a chance. Aye, vote in October 23. Last time I looked, Tree Hugger, it's not October yet.
What was that about?
Because Tree Hugger's trolling the thread and giving it a bit about supposed to be an independence vote in October 2023. The fact that you people in England are denying democracy isn't funny, Tree Hugger.
Yeah.
But what's even more funny is it's not 23rd of October 2023 yet. You don't know what's going to happen unless you get a crystal ball. That's
right. The batteries have gone in mine, and also the LED bulb. So I don't know where to get a new one. Otherwise, I would tell you what's going to happen. But there you go. Do you know what's going to happen in England? No, you don't.
Listen, if you can tell us what's going to happen in October 2023, batter the lottery numbers down in the comments, will you?
I'll have a punt to that.
Just stick your numbers down, we'll have a punt on them. Thanks, Tree Hugger. Well, somebody who claims to be able to see into the future. Predictions are one thing, but an actual claim, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, well, by the way, David, that reminds me. Prediction number 2 of Davy's predictions for 2023's come real in.
Oh, yeah. Yes, that does deserve a wee bit of a clap, I must admit. It's like you were spot on there.
Yep.
Tell them all about it.
Yes, I will do. Hold on, I get back to my predictions because I wrote them all down, didn't I? Hey. Aye. Hey. First one that my predictions was that the economy won't grow flatline. That seems to be true. It's flatline. We're not quite in a recession yet, but it's not. But the second one was that they couldn't half inflation by the middle of this year, or by the end of 2023. And the reason I said they couldn't do that was because food price inflation is still on the rise. And now the Treasury and the OBR, the IFS, and the Bank of England have now said they maybe get it down as low as 8%. Which
I've got news for you, Davy. I think they're all watching you when you come on the screen.
Well, anyway, that's prediction number 2 came through.
You can imagine the halls of power. Well, I just heard on the truck, Davy, and he says, you know, and that's it. That's how they do it. And then the OBR listen to that and they go, oh, that's important. We should take note of that, you know.
Well, I'm speculating. I'm no kidding on. I've got a crystal ball with tree hugger. You know, I'm speculating on the evidence in front of my eyes. The evidence in front of your eyes is that October 2023 is not going to happen because a certain undemocratic shower of shite in another country has decided not to respect their democracy, their legal system, and has decided that we are second-class citizens who can't ask for silly questions without tree hugger in England telling us it's okay that we can.
Personally speaking, I think that's going to cost them dearly.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
That's the second or third big thing that's happened this year because of their intransigence down this road.
David, do I think that anybody down that road is blooming worried about whether Scotland gets its independence or not?
Yes.
I'm not talking about the SNP group here or whatever, but I'm talking about the rest of them. They don't give a shit if Scotland gets its independence.
England hasn't got a pot to piss in.
Yeah. It's the most important thing is that England are ruining their chances internationally because all international trade is based on trust, and they're seen as being not trustworthy. Remember the thing that was brought up by Reuters about being the most corrupt parliament, the most corrupt, or the 18th most corrupt parliament in the world. You know,
that was Transparency International's report. Sure.
Yeah,
that did a piece on it. Sure.
Still in all, it's still important during the world. It measures how corrupt a parliament actually is. And it's like people abroad who are dealing with the British establishment in terms of putting together trade deals. They'll be looking at this and going, "Do we really want to deal with these people?" No, of course not. No, you know, the ones that have got it right are like was it Australia and New Zealand, whereby they've got the best the best end of any trade deal, costing our farmers all sorts. Yeah,
but it's not just that they're not trustworthy, David, or the 18th most corrupt regime on the planet.
Yeah.
Do you know that out of the 37 Western news outlets and Transparency International monitor, do you know that the UK's got the most corrupt media? Yeah, because it's Little English or Little Britain, it can't be corrupt. What was it that guy Matt says on the Maximilian Robespierre show? He did a wee comedy sketch. Do you think you could do dodgy dealings in a drizzly Britain? These things only happen in sunny places, so it can't be corruption. But let's get back to the point. England hasn't got a pot to piss in. And I don't say that to peeve the people in England off. I say that to wake them up. They can't feed themselves. We're fully sufficient in food.
They can't provide
the water's still a piss and shite. It's undrinkable. They're killing off their environment. They can't power themselves. They can't clothe themselves. They can't heat themselves.
Yeah.
You get right, don't you? England hasn't got a pot to piss in except for London and its dodgy dealings with money laundering.
Yeah. I must admit, looking at it from that point of view, I can imagine where the ordinary people of England would look at that and go, "Yeah, maybe that's quite true." And don't forget, the people of England, they actually pay for their water.
Aye.
You know, it's like
they pay for all that shit getting pumped into your rivers and seas.
That's unbelievable. That's really, really unbelievable. It's like, imagine you went to McDonald's and said, give us a burger, right? And basically what you got a burger that had was green and mottled and all the rest of it. You were, oh, for goodness sake. No, that's that's what you're paying for, basically, in terms of water.
But I mean, let's sign it all up. The government has failed miserably in all, and it affects us all, not just Little England, but Little England are the ones that votes for these people. The national security failure, absolute failure. Big report out by the Americans that I did a piece on. Hey, 72,000 regular soldiers and the equipment's all 30 to 50-year-olds. You couldn't make it all.
No.
So no national security, no border security. We had the Dublin Agreement before we left the EU, where if they come out and we votes, we sent them straight back to France. Can't do that. That's one of the Brexit benefits that everybody's screaming racism about. Mental. No food security, no energy security, no financial security, no economic security. You get right down here. That is a wreck. And it's a wreck because the people down there keep voting for self-harm. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I mean that to waking them up.
Yeah. I really do hope that people of England that are watching, please don't take offence at this. We're trying to point you in the right direction.
Even the media is based on the American system of just like the buggers. We'll call it populism. We'll call it culture wars. Wow. Aye.
And then amongst all of that, in the background, we've got the Tories that are having a great time regarding the press and the media, are gerrymandering the idea of privatising the NHS, making people pay for the NHS via health insurance, and it's going to happen. And in actual fact, what I've been doing a lot these days in my free time is I watch these silly wee videos that are on TikTok or whatever, right? And what's the biggest thing that's on there? It's people trying to tell you what pepper and turmeric and ginger and all this they put together to make antibiotics. We get antibiotics free of charge here in Scotland. I'll tell you what, see if the Tories get their way and the Scottish NHS is privatised and it all goes wrong. I'll tell you what, we'll be taking note of all those little recipes for making up antibiotic things in a glass of water that you can drink down and hopefully it'll protect you. Good luck to that.
As I say, I mean, the Tories were an absolute horrendous week. By the end of the week, there's a poll issued by YouGov that says, I think it was YouGov, and it says that they haven't the lift in the polls at all.
Yeah, that's right.
And you're right, Ginger's enough. Bernie's out here and he's kicking up a storm. He's done really well. I've watched him in 2 or 3 live sessions now.
Superb. If I met the man, I'd shake him by the hand. He's and my goodness me, I know I've said it before, but can you imagine being a politician in America and you're almost one of a kind and you're considered as a communist just because you talk about free health care and things like that for people? It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't.
Bernie's been doing well here. He's up promoting his new book. It's called Your Right to Be Angry with Capitalism.
Scottish Independence 2023. Thank you very much. I wish I knew a real.
Your last question, Scottish Independence 2023. What about Bojo's dad? Bojo tried to promote his dad to Lords. Well, he's already promoted his mother. He's already promoted a member of the KGB. His dad's not a new idea. That was bound to happen.
And you look at these politicians and their dads have all had a profound influence on them, right? You look at Jacob Rees-Mogg and his dad. His dad wrote a book on eugenics, I believe. Is that right?
Oh, disaster capitalism.
No, but who was the one that brought out the book on eugenics? Was it Bojo's dad? It was one of them.
Well, yeah. As far as I know, Bojo's dad's a great activist these days, isn't he?
Yeah. He was save all the animals, colour the humans. Is that what it is? No. Yes, Jim, we've already talked about that. We know Bojo is a Russian asset, but here's the thing. It's like Sunak, he's an American asset. He spent a lot of time. And when people started going, what's going on here? He got rid of his green card for America as quick as he could. Anyway.
So, a really bad week for Sunak and the Tories, and they really are in meltdown. And it looks like Sunak's going to be dragged into the Bojo investigation and all. He might be get up for investigation too, because let's face it, he attended parties and was fined as well.
Yeah.
You know, so, but DJ, prescriptions are free for our country because of our SNP government. What's Labour or the Tories given the English? Well, what they gave us all actually was prescription charges. Then they gave us tax credits, which allowed multinationals to get away with no paying a decent wage. It meant that the middle classes were subsidising the poorer classes. Because you got to remember, the higher classes, the upper classes and the elite don't pay tax.
Yeah.
You know.
Good one, Chris. Putting Boris in charge is like putting Harold Shipman in charge of the health.
Which brings us back to these released emails. I think Hancock's best one was trying to get Sunak not to repeat the Eat Out to Help Out, because it turns out that the real reason why Eat Out to Help Out was conducted was Eat Out to help spread the virus, and that comes out in the WhatsApp messages.
Yeah.
So there you go. That ways to get the middle classes out and into restaurants eating out to help out, wasn't it? The middle classes could afford to stay in their houses and weren't catching COVID. So there was had to be some way to get them out into the community. And Matt Hancock blew the whistle in the WhatsApp group. It was Eat Out to get the virus about.
Yeah.
Is it not mental?
Well, yeah, you can look at it many different ways. You know, that none of them are good. None of them look good. It's not good optics, I can assure you. The way that the Tories behaved, Johnson, Sunak, every single one of them during that period of time. My goodness me, these people should be in front of a judge and a jury. Every single one of them. You know, and instead, what we get is the usual thing, which is, let's have an inquiry about it. Let's talk about it. And then that means that nobody ever gets... I remember the Chilcot inquiry, reference Blair, and all the rest of it, right? And they got away. Jack Straw should have been blooming in the Hague, right? And they all got away with that one. That was an inquiry. It took years for it to come out. And what we're having now is we're having this public inquiry reference what would happen during the pandemic. These people should be in front of a court of law, in front of a judge, in front of 12 people, 12 jurors, and each juror should have had to have lost at least 2 people during the pandemic in order to be on that jury. And that then would give you some justice. And I'll tell you what, there's another pandemic on its way. And seriously,
did you see that for the World Health Organization? Did you see that for Bill Gates and the World Health Organization?
And I'll tell you what,
the next pandemic to hit in 2025.
Yep. And I'll tell you what, the best way that you can hope for the government, if we're going to be stuck with a UK government, the best way to focus their minds is lock a few of the bastards up.
Aye.
And then they'll realise that they can't behave the way they did during the pandemic, during the COVID.
But you imagine their internal WhatsApp group, and they're talking about how to spread the COVID into the middle classes.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Wow. They're actually plotting to get it into the middle classes who could afford to stay behind closed doors. Unbelievable. And he knew we'll get the World Health Organization and the Bill Gates organization, both predicting a new pandemic to start in South America in 2025.
Yeah.
And it's what was it they're going to call it? Is it SEERS? SEERS? Some sort of exponential respiratory syndrome.
Yeah.
Where people, he wants to pass out, go into comas and never come back. Or if they do come back, they're brain damaged.
Yeah.
So, but, you know, when we talk about eugenics, that's what we're seeing here.
Yeah.
That is what we're seeing here. We're seeing a bunch of political elite, not even political elites, global elitists who are.
Well, let's deal with the elephant in the room, right? You know, supposing it was true that these people had basically agreed at their dinner parties and their get-togethers and all the rest of it, yeah, we need to get rid of the population a bit, right? How do you think they would go about it? The pandemic was a blessing for them. All they needed to do was press the right buttons and loads of people would die. Yeah?
Fiona, you're right. None of the NHSs are free. This idea of moving to an insurance-based system in England, you already have an insurance-based system. It's called national insurance. Wake up! Wow. And yes, Fiona, the reason why your NHS is doing so much better is we don't just rely on national insurance contributions. We pay a huge whack of what we raise out of general taxation into our healthcare system as well.
Yeah.
And when we talk about pandemic hangovers, we're being told the pandemic's over, yet Novak Djokovic still can't get into America to play a game of tennis.
Hang on, guys. I know we've got a blooming bad weather warning, but I'm getting blinded with blooming sun here. Give it a second.
I have got a snow warning on my screen. So to round things up, things have not got any better for Little England and for the rest of us because of Little England.
Yeah.
We can say that last week Little England got a bit of a wake-up call when they were told, by the way, Northern Ireland's got a super whooper duper deal and it will be the envy of the industrialised world. And quite rightly so, people in England, Wales and Scotland sat up and went, what? That's the deal we had before we left the EU. Wow.
Yeah, the really awful thing about that is that we knew this was coming. We actually did know it was coming. Because the moment you take one of, let's call them 4 countries, I know technically they're not, but you know, you have 4 countries making up the United Kingdom. The moment you give one of those countries a special deal that the other 3 don't have, then immediately what you're going to do is common sense. The big companies are going to go, oh, geez, a bit of that. Yeah? If you look at what's happening with Amazon right now in Guruk, I believe they're closing. They're closing Guruk.
Yep.
Why do you think that is?
No idea.
I would imagine high on the minds of the Amazon boardroom, as it were, would be Ireland. They were already looking at Northern Ireland. And especially Northern Ireland, because it now gives them an ability to go both ways.
Aye.
And that's 17 or 21 mile distance between Northern Ireland and Scotland really doesn't matter to them.
No. And the other thing that was interesting about it is AstraZeneca dumped the idea of building that big plant in the UK.
Yeah.
And are now going to build it in Southern Ireland because it gives them access to both markets.
Yeah, that's right. So basically what we've done is we've taken the bottom out of Scotland's market, but at the same time, I'll tell you what, people of England, it's taking the bottom out of your market as well. You are going to suffer badly. You are going to find companies that you thought were as red, white and blue as you could possibly get them, and they'll be heading to Northern Ireland to get the deal. that they had before when we were a part of the EU. So what Sunak says that we've got Northern Ireland have got the best deal possible. Aye, it was the best deal that all of us had.
Aye. But now we've got British companies moving their headquarters to Northern Ireland.
That's right.
And eventually a lot of the jobs will move too.
Aye, that's right.
Yeah. We spoke about this before. The West Coast fishermen are already landing their stuff in Northern Ireland to get easy access to the EU, because if they take it to Dover, it's hit and miss whether they make it. Of course, I know before it's sell by date.
This be a bit of a disaster if all these companies all move to Northern Ireland, right? Don't have to be, but okay, let's say there's space enough for them, right? The big building project and all the rest of it, right? And they managed to get all the people to move across to Northern Ireland, all the key workers, and then the troubles start again.
I think the troubles that's one of the things that will happen with people. They start moving to Northern Ireland for economic benefits. The troubles will be further and further in the past, because there'll be that much an influx of new blood that they'll just get together and oppose both sides.
The nutters are still the nutters, David. Nothing you can do about that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Margaret's saying, aye, investors are going to go to Northern Ireland. Of course they are, Margaret.
Yeah.
Of course they are.
Yeah.
That's what I'd do. That's what I'd do. Initially it'd be my brass plaque if I was a small to medium-sized enterprise. I would still manufacture where I was because it'd be expensive to move it. But having my headquarters in Northern Ireland in a high-rise, immediately file paperwork with the EU saying that you're a Northern Ireland-based business would be enough to cover it. You then use a green line to get into Northern Ireland and then ship out to there. What you do is build a warehouse in Northern Ireland, which is exactly what a lot of companies in England have done, and in Scotland have had today in Europe, build warehouses there.
Yeah.
And
the thing about it, David, the paperwork is supposed to cover if that's a widget that goes to make another widget in Britain, and it's coming through the EU, it's coming through Northern Ireland. The paperwork's supposed to deal with that.
Aye.
So that they're covered in terms of export duties and all the rest of it, right? I don't think there's going to be any less paperwork involved. I think there's still going to be a massive amount of paperwork, and I think that regarding the VAT that companies abroad pay to the British government for moving stuff here, for exporting stuff to Britain, I think that's still going to be a problem. It's still going to be a waste. And also, I believe that the DUP are just going to say, it's our ball and we're going home.
And our Northern Ireland correspondent in Facebook says, don't exactly think the troubles will start up again. The recent shooting in Omagh has shown that dissident Republicans and loyalists, paramilitaries, are working together. They are known as the Firm. I don't know if Charlie will like that one.
Yeah, they consider the royal family as the Firm. Fiona, I hope you're right. I honestly do, darling.
When it comes to Northern Ireland, David, Fiona's normally right.
I know she is, and I agree with that. She's been right many times in the past, and I think we'll go with that. So
I trust her judgment. Fiona's been keeping me in the loop what's going on in Northern Ireland for many years now.
Yeah,
many years.
I remember that Fiona was the one that brought up the point that it's very unlikely that people in Northern Ireland would vote for joining with Southern Ireland, and it was mainly because of the top of the wash house was the amount of money they had to pay in Southern Ireland to go and visit a doctor.
Aye.
And
that's one up for Chris.
Yeah.
The only people to rule Scotland is the Scots. No, it's not. At this point in time, we're ruled by a parliament 476 miles away from my door.
Yeah. However, the people that should do it is the people that live and work in Scotland, and they can be from anywhere the mere fact that we call them Scots, it's incidental. It's not the fact of where we've been. It's where we're going together in the future. And England,
Northern Ireland one that tells us it's 50 quid to see a quack in Southern Ireland.
Yeah.
And Chris, England is a foreign country.
No, they're foreign, but in actual fact, the day after we get independence, we'll still look like England. We'll still look like the way we are now, right? It's going to take many, many years before we start going off in our own direction, and that means that England and Scotland will look culturally, economically different in many, many ways.
We're already culturally and economically different. We've got a more balanced economy for a start.
David, I know what you're saying, man. There's part of me that agrees with you, but we're still talking about generally Scotland is this way. We see it today. And the day after independence, we'll still be that way. In actual fact, a year after independence, we'll still be that way. It will take time before we start going our own direction, before we start to really diverge. Yeah? It's not going to happen instantly. Eagle Rider is the underlying motive of Westminster to counter any desire for Northern Ireland to reunite with the Republic of Ireland, as they would then lose access to both markets. Think that one through. Put that one up by Eagle Rider, David.
And of course, on the other side, will Scottish independence and Irish reunification be the perfect solution? No. just a means to an end. What really, the real reason why we need to get away from Westminster is to ensure that the people in England realise how little England and insignificant England is. But let's get to this one. Is an underlying motive of Westminster to counter any desire for NI to reunite with the Republic of Ireland, as they would then lose access to both markets? Yes, you're right. Westminster would then lose access to both markets. Yeah. It's what's interesting about Northern Ireland is it's excluded from the internal market bill. That has to be. It still deals with EU trade regulations. So therefore, it will be excluded from the internal market bill. But Eagle Rider. Yes, they would lose it, but I'm absolutely 100% sure that they're trying to shove Ireland out the door. Northern Ireland.
I think, guys, what we need to do is with Northern Ireland is put them on a watching brief, right? In the nicest possible way. So, in other words, when Ireland really, really start to do phenomenally well, which they are now, right? But even better than now, and then start to actually bring that up and look at England and Scotland and Wales and compare what's happening. That's the way to actually do it, and then start campaigning on that basis.
Here in Edinburgh gives it media manipulation is what is holding the English back. Actually, it's not. It was Thatcher that did it to them. England had a diverse market the same way Scotland had a diverse market. It had a great agricultural system. It had a great manufacturing base. It had a great service sector. Yeah. Now, the thing that's left in England is just the service sector. Yeah. Whereas up here, we still have a diverse economy, which is what they're trying to kill, actually. Yeah. We're not allowed to be different, or we have to be subordinate. That's the two options that are offered to Westminster to the peoples of Wales, Northern Ireland, and Scotland.
However, when you look at Scotland's economy, there we go. There's another name that we all knew, a day-by-day name, Morton's Rolls, going to the wall. And, you know, it's like this is going to happen over and over and over again. Morton's Rolls. It could have been, I don't know what it was that took them out, but it could have been the price of flour. Or it could have been the fact that when you actually cook stuff, you've got to pay for the energy to cook it, right? And my goodness me, it's like there's another another day-by-day name that's gone, a household name. Yeah, it's almost like Heinz Beans going the journey. You know, Morton's Rolls. Bloody hell, it's ridiculous. It's dreadful.
That's a good point by Billy. But I'll go back to Fiona's point first. Fiona was saying that she doubts that harder access to the new UK market would put people in Northern Ireland off voting for reunification. And Billy's saying, we are Scotland, an internationally recognised independent nation held in a political union with a cooperation through an international treaty. How would a Brit end a treaty? Well, they're just about to end a treaty on the rights of the refugee. With this new bill being proposed by Rishi Sunak to criminalise anybody coming across the water and throw them out and ban them for ever applying for asylum again. That breaches the conventions on the rights to this, rights to seek asylum under international law. So, how would Little England break up a treaty? They would just go ahead and break the law. A law that they agreed to, a law that they championed, a law that they pioneered.
And this is precisely what David and I were talking about the other day, last Thursday when we were on, where when we put something into law from the Holyrood, that if Westminster dare try the Section 35 thing, just say, no, get stuff. We're putting it in the law anyway. Simple as that. And it's the only way we're going to manage to get through. If they're going to break the law in order to get their way, then I think we should take a leaf out of their book. We'll break the law to get our way. Yeah.
Apparently, electricity costs was the nail in the coffin for Morton.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, you know, the price cap that we've got, which is unbelievable, is ridiculous, right? When you're in business, you actually do a deal with the electricity company, and there's no price cap. It can be, they write a number and add the shoe size. It's coming crazy. And it's like, what you've got to look at from the point of view is, if you lot are employed, and it's like, maybe it's a conversation you shouldn't have, but maybe an idea to go along and ask the boss, how's he or she coping with the electricity bill or the gas bill? You know?
What do you might call it, David? The Morton's Road thing's quite interesting. We've got Kirsty McLeod saying that her and Morton's Rolls go back a long way. She was born in Drumchapel in 1965. The last job I did in the open road, because I knew what in a yard, was driving for a company called Fleming Howden. And I used to deliver into Morton's twice a week.
Yeah.
Used to take them their yeast and the baker's margarine and all sorts of products, you know, for making it.
I mean, I'm a sound engineer, and I do work for a lot of people, and there's certainly one of the big bakers in the United Kingdom that owns a large chunk of Canada, and they grow their own. They make their own flour, right? And that then allowed them to deal with that. But also, each one of their plants, it is, I believe, a plan. They've done it in one of the Southern England plants. Is they put up a large wind turbine in order to deal with the electricity needs, and it's one of the biggies.
Aye.
So you know. I did read Scotland is going to be paying £1,000 more for electricity. Yeah, Margaret, you know, everything bad you're hearing, Margaret, is just, it's true. You're in for
they might actually kibosh this next up like that. I was just going to say, so sporting rather dashing. Yes, bikers for Scottish Independence t-shirt today.
Oh, very good. Hey.
Right, last 10 minutes, David, because you know I've got to nip there and pick up a part.
Right. Just from a wee personal point of view, I've lost confidence in my smart meter, and I think a lot of you have already been on my timeline, and I wrote about it, right? And what I was advised to do was I asked them to take both meters away, the gas one and the electricity one, and please have them checked. What they did was they went, no, no, no. What we're going to do is we're going to send you this creep test that you can do. You switch off the power, you take a photograph of your meter, you leave it for 5 minutes, you switch on the power and take another photograph. And if it hasn't changed, then that's it. Everything's fine, goes in his heaven, right? However, that doesn't answer the big question of any meter that you could possibly buy on the market. And I'm not talking about an electricity meter or a gas meter. I'm talking about any meter, a meter I would use for sound engineering or whatever, is accuracy. And I've asked them to take the meters to check them for accuracy, and they have said no. And I was advised to set up or send to them a proper formal complaint. The formal complaint has been registered with them. And from what I'm hearing, and I don't know if it's true, but I'll wait to see what comes through in this month or the end of this month, is that if you put a formal complaint in, they reduce your electricity and your gas.
Well, Fiona says you're looking well, Sarah, and Elizabeth Camphor Brown. Hi, Davy and Davy. Sorry, catch up, naughty step. Somebody else there for the naughty step. Lynn, the naughty step. What you don't burn the rest in the candle. Because listen, go to warm up a naughty step somehow. You know, electricity is expensive these days. Right, listen, we've only got about 10 minutes left. Let's get to the leadership contest here in Scotland.
Oh, dear.
Have you watched the hustings, any of the hustings yet?
No. I admit to that. I'm not going to watch. I'll watch maybe the last one when they've all got their story right, you know. So, and that then will tell me, oh, I'm going to vote for X, Y, or Z, right? To be honest with you guys, is it massively important? Does your life depend on choosing that right person for leadership? If they're not right, within a few short months we'll know. And what will I do if it's not right? I'll go to the Greens. It's as simple as that.
Don't hold the door open for me. I'm not coming with you. Anyway, developments since the last day. I'm not going to mess about with this because we don't have much time with developments since the last day. Time I spoke about this on Friday when I get an update. Save me day.
I know, Charlie. Right, carry on.
Do you just behave yourself? Anyway, well now, over the course of the weekend and the latest hustings, it would appear that Holmes and Kate are 50-50 for the head honcho's job, and Ash is still out the running. But when you get right down it, I listen to the hustings, and there isn't much between them, to be honest with you. You know. But as I say, I think the big thing for Ash is that instead of keep them voting against the GRR and staying in office, she ran away. You know, and people look at that when it comes to voting for First Minister and say, what will Ash do when she comes up against the first hard situation? You know. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, Ash. I know that that's on a lot of members' minds because obviously I'm discussing this with a lot of members. Or should I say I've got a lot of members asking me who I'm voting for and I keep telling them I'm telling everybody else. I'm not bloody telling you, it's a secret ballot.
Yeah.
You know? So there you have it.
I was going to vote for Angus and push Angus. He wasn't interested.
No.
Which is a bit of a shame. But anyway, there you go.
Aye, but you know, David, you and I know why he's not interested.
No, don't go any further on that.
I'm not going to go any further on it. I'm sure the general public know as well, but I'm not here to throw mud. You know.
Yeah. Anyway, I will choose one of them. Don't worry. You know, when it gets to the day, I'll go. Maybe what I'll do is I'll take a coin out and I'll do a few tosses of a coin. And I'll go right. Okay, right. You'll get my vote. That's it. So long as
you don't see the old day. See pictures on the wall and a blindfold and that. Let's be fair to each of the people that have put their hat in the ring, right? I'm sure that they are trying to become First Minister for the best of reasons, right? And I really do hope
that they've got the cojones to actually do the next bit, which is to basically say to Westminster, get stuffed. We're doing it anyway.
Well, you know, that's one thing that Ash has said right enough, you know. Kate and whom else said something slightly different. And after the FM was elected, will you then tell us who you voted for? I'll take it under consideration.
No. At the end of the day, I will support whomever wins. There you go. There's democratic for you. It's like I'll have my own thoughts. I'll vote for whoever I'm going to vote for, and then when it comes out, if it's A, B, or C, maybe I vote for C, and A wins, I'll be supporting A after the fact.
Aye, after the fact. Yeah. Once we've had our say, whoever comes out on top, we'll get. I'll get 100% behind them.
Yeah.
Even if it's
and I mean this thing about, you know, I got a post off somebody. It was PM saying, what about John Swinney? They're all resigning at the moment. Do you not see anything in that? You know, Nicola's resigned, and then John Swinney's resigned, and I'm going, that's normal, because the new First Minister that comes in is going to choose their own deputy First Minister. Don't you understand that? That's basic.
Listen, I spent all day the day he resigns explaining that to people. Yeah. Look, it was a logical thing for John to do, because the new First Minister might not want him as deputy. So he would then be getting the sack.
Can I tell you something? I've met John Swinney a few times, right? And the one thing that guy would always go and vote for was, if he'd have put his hat in the ring, he's one of the nicest blokes you could ever hope to meet. And he really is a nice man. Right?
I've followed his career, and he was always a wee bit too meek. But under Nicola Sturgeon, he didn't have flourish. He came into his own.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah. I mean, I remember the thing where the people were getting flooded in Dumfriesshire, that sort of area, right? Yeah. And he stood up and he said, "There's nobody can give these people a cheque for 1,500 quid to let them get on." You know, and it's great, absolutely great when he does things like that. You know, so
he's been a great deputy First Minister, really has.
Yep. So there you go. It's just blooming stupid. Oh, they're all resigning. Oh dear, blooming heck. And what it is, look, I'm going to say it yet again. Elephant in the room. Alba supporters that are coming away with stuff like that. Come on, guys.
I've never mind the supporters. Mr. Salmon's been enjoying himself in the limelight. You know, try to put the boot into Humza, and then the boot into Kate. You know, but
that perhaps should be talking to you and telling you whose his preference is.
Ash is his preference, obviously. After all, he's advising them.
Yeah, and also Ash has already said that she would like to bring Alex Salmond back in to the fold, the SNP fold again.
He's welcome to join as a member once he was welcome to join back as a member once he was cleared in court. He decided no.
Yeah, that's right. Okay. So look, guys, it's like I haven't a clue who I'm going to vote for. I haven't a clue who I'm not going to vote for. So I will wait until the last minute and I'll put my vote in.
Hold on, Billy's got a comment here on Facebook. He says, because you don't like they don't like them. Nobody said we don't like the Alpha Party. Well, I don't know. Many times ago you explained this.
Do you want to know something now? No, David. Let me answer this one, right?
Oh, I don't know if that's safe.
It's not a matter of no liking. Some of my pals have become Alba Party supporters. And one of my best pals on the Pro-Indy side, his daughter ran to actually be an MSP, was it? She was running for?
I think it was a council that they... At
the end of the day, it's just I find it blooming lunacy what comes out of the mouth of some of the Alba Party supporters, or out of the minds of the Alba Party supporters, because really, It just doesn't make any sense, guys.
And from my point of view, everybody's welcome. As I say this repeatedly, everybody's welcome in a democracy. Everybody, including the Alpha Party. But you don't go about becoming popular by attacking people. You go about becoming popular by putting policies in front of people that they can vote for. The Alpha Party have done none of these things.
Right.
Putting signs around the country that says Alpha for independence, that's a single policy isn't going to get people to vote for you, because there's nothing there about running schools, running hospitals, improving infrastructure, using the single weavable goat to try and bolster the economy a wee bit, that sort of stuff.
And until they actually get somebody voted in, they're not going to have that, are they? I mean, the only people who've actually got voted in are like we're talking about the two MPs that crossed the floor, as they say, took the Alba Party membership and then became separate. That was McCaskill and the other guy, we'll forget his name at the moment, right? They're not going to do anything. They're not going to do anything until they actually have their own voted MP. They will eventually. If we keep going, yeah, but they will do it eventually.
Oh, that's what I'm saying. Check back in 30 years.
Yeah. Well, even if it's not that, even if it's so much as just 10 or 15 years, which I doubt, right?
Fast, wouldn't it? Because if we look at the Green Party and the SNP, look how long it took them to make a breakthrough. I mean, but if they manage it in 15 years, then it'll be pretty fast. But that's why I always say check backwards in 30 years. And at this point in time, they're not even polling.
Yeah.
They don't even make it into the others category. So
and when you've got the leader, Alex Salmond, instead of talking for his own party, talking against another party, how does that look? It doesn't look good at all, guys. I can assure you, if I was the leader of one of these parties, Greens, SNP, or Alba, right, I would put it myself to actually say positive things about my party, rather than try to shout down another party's member.
And according to Billy, over on Facebook, all your political masters need. I don't have any political masters, Billy. Wow. I didn't know. Wow. I don't even like me as politicians.
Oh, is that one of my political masters? Sorry, what does he want, sir?
Anyway, David, let's see.
No, hang on. See, after this leadership thing, just about one minute while I make this point. After this leadership thing, there will be a special conference called. Reason why? It's because one of the party leaders, or what the new party leader has called for it. No, because the membership have called for the special conference, right? And you will see David and I both attend that special conference, and they will not like what we've got to say, possibly.
Well, that reminds me, what are you doing the 26th?
I don't know. Why?
Fancy a wee run to Aberdeen?
We could do, I suppose, aye.
Oh, I'm going. I don't know whether you're. I'm definitely going. I need it's an audience with me.
Right, okay, aye, fine. They were.
Can I heckle you? It's a Saturday. I just thought you might want to go along for the ride, like a gas.
Can I heckle you?
Of course you can, mate. There's nothing changed yet. You've been heckling me for the last 15 fucking years.
Let me check back with my political masters and see what I've got to ask you.
Aye, of course, mate. And you've been heckling me for the last 15 years, you bum.
Right, guys, that's we've come to the end of the road for.
Who pays their wages, boy? That doesn't make them our masters. That makes us their masters. We pay their wages. They work for us, I believe, is the term, dear boy. They work for us.
Anyway, back to over. Thank you for joining us for this.
With the details, hold on, people want to know the details. An audience with me on the 26th of March, 2 p.m. at the Albans Hotel in Aberdeen. All right.
In actual fact,
you'll get the information on the Aberdeen for Independence page, okay?
Yeah, but also David will put that up on his own timeline.
It's already up there somewhere.
It's already up there. Well, can you put up a fresh one after this? Okay.
Yeah. I'll jump onto the Aberdeen for Independence page and share it.
Because it is possible that quite a lot of people aren't aware of it and all the rest of it. And it would be good to hear you talking like other than behind a camera. People think you're a bot anyway. You know, artificial intelligence bots. That's it, you know.
Yeah, well. Anyway, keep an eye on the rest of my predictions. But 2 for 2 is no bad so far.
But that just proves the conspiracy theories that you are actually an artificial intelligence bot.
That's it, aye. As I say, 2 out of 2 is no bad. We're only 3 months in. Yeah, anyway, you have your I've still got 5 tomatoes in the fridge, they're still fresh. You know, they want to give me a Lamborghini.
Guys, we're still looking for subscribers. If you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the channel. It gives us more operative ability, if you like, more buttons and whistles
and hit the like button on YouTube.
So, and please hit the like button, obviously. And thank you very much for all the donations that have been given. We're still waiting on Google. It's Google AdSense, it seems, that actually passed the money through. So, and I filled out a tax form, a US tax form, would you believe, in order to get the money to come through. But anyway, it is coming, so fair enough. But we've got the first 2 donations
in monthly instalments, we believe, and we've just picked up January's instalment.
Yeah.
All right, we're just picking up January's instalment.
Yeah.
Anyway, folks, it's time to go. Time to round things up. I've got a dog to walk in. I've got a car parts place to go to, and then it'll be time to go to work.
And I've got a wee girl to pick up to school, so I need to go. All right. So have a good one, guys. See you on Thursday. And if you are going to share this from David's timeline, please give him a few minutes to make sure he can make sure it's public before you do. It'll only take 5 minutes to do that. So if you can just wait off that 5 minutes, you can, of course, share directly from YouTube the very, very moment that we stop broadcasting. So anyway, enjoy, guys. Okay.
Aye. Just leaves one thing left today. Bye, Davey.